Hi everyone, it's Karen here. It's day 15 in our 24 days of tags. And today, something a little different. We're going to do some embossing. Our theme is circles, and I'm going to show you how we create this different texture on the background of our tag. The colours that I'm going to be using are Peacock Feathers and Blueprint Sketch, which are two of my favourite. And then for some contrast, we've got Prize Ribbon and Chipped Sapphire. But if you don't want to go the blue range, look, we've got all these fabulous reds. There's Barn Door, Abandoned Coral. All of those will give you a lovely red tag. Or you can go the purple route. There's some fabulous purples. You can go greens. There's Rustic Wilderness, Shabby Shutters, Mowed Lawn. All of those will give you such lovely contrasting tags and colours. And then we've got the yellow range. So we've got Mustard Seed and Spiced Marmalade, Fossilised Amber and Rusty Hinge. All of that will give you quite a lovely yellowy orange tag. So whatever your favourite colourway is, go for it. I'm using stamps in the background from Kaisercraft. Kaisercraft are an Australian company, and in particular I love this script stamp. And I've got these cute little sentiment things that will go with for the buttons here. But I'm sure you all have tons of stamps that will work with this in your stash. We are also going to be using the white orb stencil from Lavinia. I love this because you've got the two sides to the stencil in the one place. And we will get started. As always, my tag size is 6.5 centimeters by 12.5 centimeters. And I'm going to start by picking up this stencil and I'm going to place it half. So we've got half of the big ones, half of the small ones onto our tag. I'm going to start, no, I'm not. I'm going to start with Blueprint Sketch. And you can use any blending brush to start this off. And I'm just going to go over the whole tag. So circles is our theme today. It's also okay if some of the circles are darker than the others. And then I'm going to pick up the stencil and just move it slightly so we've got more of the smaller circles on this, in this colourway. And then I'm going to pick up Peacock Feathers. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to go over the whole tag. There we go. With Peacock Feathers. And there you get that lovely contrast there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take some bottle caps. So an assortment of sizes. So this has got a wider diameter top and this is a smaller one and here's even smaller. The only thing you want to know is that the top is flat. You don't want a ridge or a screw top or anything like that, because what we want is to create nice crisp circles on our background. So what I'm going to do is take the two darker colours. I'm going to start with Prize Ribbon and I'm going to smush a bit on my mat, spritz it with my bottle, and then I'm going to take my big cap. This will bring back kindergarten memories. So you're just going to tap, tap, tap it into the ink till you've made sure that you've got ink on the entire area. And then, without thinking at all, you're just going to randomly tap it onto your tag. So you can see I've got some peeking off, some whole circles in there. And then I'm going to take one of my smaller caps, still with Prize Ribbon this is, but there's no science here, so you can just play to your heart's content. Some of them can be overlapping, some of them can be inside. And then I'm going to dry that off. And I'm going to go in with chipped sapphire. So this is my darkest colour. And my smallest little cap. And again, just create some little circles all over my tag. Voila. So now you want this to be completely dry before we put the next layer on. So I'm going to dry that, clean my mat up and come back to you. So now I've got a few scraps of card. What I did the first time was I cut the circles out. I die cut the circles and then I stamped each one individually. That's a bit of a faff and it's very fiddly. So I would say to you that probably what you want to do is do it like this because it's far less stressful. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to emboss a bit of this script stamp. But you can see here, you can use any combination of script, of images to put the circles onto your tag. Now for embossing, I saw in some of my earlier tags people having trouble with it. So I want to just show you a couple of tips that should help all the problems. You want to use an anti-static pad. This has got French chalk in it, and you're just going to dab this over the surface of the card. So what that does is it eliminates any oily fingers, any bits of dust. It helps it from sticking. So you can see there's an excess of chalk on there. I just flick it over, trying not to touch the surface too much. And then I'm going to bring my stamp back in. I'm going to be using the Versamark Watermark ink pad. This is a very sticky pad. And it's sticky so that the embossing powder will stick to it. And I'm just going to, making sure that I get a nice coverage. Wasn't very clean, but fortunately it doesn't matter. I'm just going to pop my white. I always use Wow embossing powder and I use the Superfine Bright White because it gives me a nice crisp image. So you can see I moved pretty quickly from the time that you put the ink onto the page. You then want to get your embossing powder on straight away. Now I can leave it, go and have a cup of tea and do whatever I like before embossing. So I'm going to do all three of my pieces of card. I'm going to use a different text stamp here. But the same again. You can see I'm trying to keep my fingers away from the card. Because I'm going to land up with smaller circles here, I don't have to cover the whole card. I'm going to put that one aside. I'm just going to tip this back into my ink pot. There we go. Now, I'm then going to bring in two of my these little buttons. This says Season Greetings and there's got a Father Christmas on it with Merry Christmas. There we have our 3 pieces. And now, before we heat it, I'm going to turn my heat gun on. So this is an embossing gun. I'm going to turn the heat gun on, warm it up a bit before I start putting it onto my embossing powder. And you'll see when I do, I pick up my card, heat it a bit from the back, heat it a bit from the front, and keep moving it around so that it doesn't burn. And I always start with a bit of it on the back because that draws the embossing powder into the card and it won't fly away when you put the embossing gun on the top. So there we've got our 3 pieces. Now what I'm going to do is I've got a die cut. If you don't have a die that works like this, then I would just draw around one of your bottle caps. That's be the first one, and cut it into a circle, or whatever shaped die that you like. So I'm just going to go and cut out my little circles and I'll come back. So here we've got our little circles die cut out of our pieces of card with our different words upon it. Now you could have coloured the card before you cut it, but this way I feel like you can be a bit more precise in your colouring. So I'm going to use these 2 colours, Peacock Feathers and Blueprint Sketch. I'm going to alternate between the 2 and just create a bit of colour using my blending sponge here and there. There is no science to this. I'm just doing what I feel like to blend these 2 colours together. Sometimes I'll do the edge. So you see, I couldn't have been as specific if I'd have just done an overall design. But I'm not sure it matters that much. See, I love that colouring. And then others, you can just colour that bit and just have a tiny bit around the edge, because we are going to go around the edge with black soot as well, so that will give them a bit more of a pop. So you can now see all of our little circles have got a definite edge around them because I went around them with black soot. And then you're just going to play with the composition until you're happy with what you've got. Some of these we're going to lay flat and others we're going to raise. But first of all, you want to just kind of get the layout that you might be happy with. I might put that one there and that one on top of there, and he can go on farther, and then I'll raise them. Now I'm going to use Cosmic Shimmer to glue them down, and then to raise them I'm going to use these sticky fixers, which have got a bit of depth in them, 3D, to raise my little circles up. As you can see in this one I've raised it double, and these have only just got one sticky fixer on them. So there we have our gorgeous tag, and then actually I'm just going to go around the edge with one of the darkest colours. I'm probably going to go with Chipped Sapphire, which will frame our entire picture. So I hope you've enjoyed that. It's been a lot of fun. I've really loved seeing your tags, everyone. Thank you to those who sent me random tags last week. That's very kind. I was very touched. And I'm so glad you're enjoying this and having lots of fun. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back again tomorrow. Bye for now.